Hi everyone, it's us, Jaden Guman.
And Kara Agarwal.
Today, Students for Change wants to take a moment to recognize the problems and effects the COVID-19 pandemic has had over this last year, as many nations are reaching the last days of this pandemic. Over the last year, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the lives of many, and as many nations are reaching the last days of this pandemic, we'd like to take a moment to reflect on the plights several nations have faced as a result of COVID, what this has meant for them and the world, and what this may mean for their future.
In many ways, COVID-19 has made people more prepared against future viruses, as the government and people have now learned how to handle these situations. An example of improvement over the past months is the vaccination programs across the globe. As many companies have created effective vaccines against the virus, millions of people can be immune to the virus.
For instance, let's take a look at the development of vaccines globally over the past year. At the start of this pandemic, once this virus was first discovered in the Wuhan region of China in December of 2019, worries soon arose. However, when the virus spread all the way to Europe and the US by February 2020 and lockdown procedures began, experts realized that a vaccine would be necessary. The only problem, the quickest a vaccine had ever been developed was in 4 years for mumps.
Now, in June of 2021, there have been over 2 billion vaccine doses worldwide that have been administered over 180 countries with a rate of 35 million doses every day. It took less than a year for companies to develop an effective vaccine against COVID-19. Still, being fully vaccinated can keep people safe and healthy around communities across the globe. But people should not also forget about the underlying threat towards non-vaccinated people. It is a certainty that as the vaccination rates increase, the world can return to its normalcy.
Even as the vaccination rates increase, and the world is approaching the sense of normalcy we've been yearning for over a year, it is crucial to take a look at what this pandemic has meant for the regions hit hardest by this pandemic, that infected over 170 million and killed over 3.7 million. These include areas such as Europe, India, and the US.
Specifically, India has one of the worst outbreaks. As India has a huge population of 1.3 billion people, the virus spread like wildfire in April of 2021. With then, every 10 days, cases doubling in quantity. Due to the rise of a new Indian variant, thousands are dying every day. The healthcare system has been overwhelmed due to the high amount of patients being admitted. The vaccination programs have tried their best to slow down the spread, but the unusual side effects of the virus threats have overpowered the system. However, even with the rapid spread, many countries are supporting each other throughout the virus. Currently, the number of cases in June of 2021 have lowered to around 130,000 cases from the start of May 2021, which is around 500,000 cases. Personally, I have had many family members that have been infected by the harsh variants, just like millions of others across the globe. But communities and people are trying to come together to combat the spread and to eventually end the virus once and for all.
Similar to India, Europe was one of the worst victims of the pandemic in the early days of COVID. On February 22nd, 2020, the first highly prominent epicenters of COVID in Europe started to develop in Italy, and other European nations soon reported a rise in cases sourced from travel. In early March, health measures and procedures were put in place, but the virus remained prominent. These procedures soon helped the pandemic's prominence diminish, and Europe has since regained a sense of stability.
Finally, let's take a look at the United States. They declared COVID-19 a national emergency in March of 2020. However, many people did not adhere to the guidelines conducted by the CDC and the World Health Organization. Slowly, as the months passed by, the United States became one of the hardest hit countries by the virus. Economically, the virus also had a huge impact on the United States as the economy had been the worst affected for years. However, since there have been around 40% of the country fully vaccinated and 50% of all adults, other surges in the virus are highly combated.
COVID-19 has in many ways been referred to as a great accelerator. As a result, many nations have realized weaknesses and points to improve upon, which we can all hope will lead to fostering a better environment throughout global communities. And in turn, I myself have seen members of my local community work to better themselves and those around them. In a time filled with hardships such as this, the hard work of our communities has been a leading factor driving us out of this pandemic as a whole. So as we reach the last days of this pandemic, let us emphasize that community has been our strength, and it always will be.
We at Students for Change want to thank everyone for the perseverance through hardships of this virus. And we believe that if we work together, we can achieve our goals. Again, thank you so much for supporting us, and be sure to be on the lookout for new videos.